Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. In this video, we will talk about email size restrictions and this will be a part 2. I will leave a link for the part 1 on the I button as well as on the description. Please go check it out. So if you have watched our video on managing the mailbox quota in Exchange Server, you may already know that we have a databases for normal standard users and separate database for managers and separate database for VIP users. So this is to maintain the different level of mailbox quota for each users, wherein we have given 5 GB of mailbox for standard users, and for the managers we have given 20 GB of mailbox, and for the VIP users we have given 100 GB of space. So similar way on the mail flow, when users are sending an email with attachments, we want to standardize this process based on the same standard users and managers and VIP level of exceptions. In the same way, for email attachments also, we want to allow all the users to be able to send email messages with larger email attachments within the organization. And we are sending email to the external recipients or receiving an email from external recipients. We want to make some customization for the standard users and the VIP users. So when I say VIP users, for the managers and the CEO and CISO people, right? This is one of the scenario which was requested by this user on my channel. As he says, he wants his internal emails to be sent with no limits, and for the external emails, users should be able to send email with the maximum size of 50 MB. However, while receiving an email from external users, it should be limited to 20 MB. And the CEOs will also have exception. So let's take this scenario and try to implement on our environment. Let's consider this one first. The internal emails to be sent or received with unlimited or with no limit of attachment size. As I see, this is not a good practice. And if you want to share any attachment with large size, so you would use the OneDrive or SharePoint or any other file sharing systems available on the internet or which is available on the local like FTP server or something like that, right? When it comes to email, the SMTP or the email protocols, they are not good at handling the attachments or they are not good at handling large size of attachment. So adding large size of attachments on the email will cause too much of delay on the emails. Also, it will add too much of load on Exchange Server. So for this reason, I want to limit the internal email also somewhere around 50 MB, which is a very considerable amount of size when it comes to email attachments. So I will keep 50 MB for internal emails, receiving and sending. So let's implement this scenario first. Let's go back to our Exchange server. As you can see, we have the email attachment limits. Let's turn this off for now. If I uncheck this, this will be turned off. So let's create a new rule. Let's call this as attachment limits for internal emails. And let's click on more option and select this and go to sender. So here, let's select this is external or internal. In this window, let's select inside the organization. So this will make sure it is applied only to the emails which are sent from the internal user. And let's add one more condition. And this time we will select a recipient and add internal user itself. So this will be only applied to the emails which are transacted inside the organization. So this is the condition. And also add one more condition which limits the attachment size. And let's select any attachment and the size is greater than or equal to, I want to give it 50 MB. So this is in KB. Let's convert this 50 MB to kilobytes. As you can see, this is the binary value of 50 MB in kilobytes. So let's go back to our Exchange server and add this limit. Click OK. As you can see, this is 50 MB. So this will apply only to the emails which are transacted internally and has the attachment size equal or more than 50 MB. Then I want to do the block the message with the explanation. So let's use the same explanation here and let's add 50 MB here and click OK. So as you see, this email contains the attachments which exceeds the limit 50 MB. Please reduce the overall attachment size. So this is what we will do. So let's click on save. And this is applied to all the internal users. And if there is any email which is sent with more than 50 MB space or 50 MB of attachment, it will be blocked. So you also know in my organization or in this lab, the whole message size limit is set to 25 MB. So we need to increase this as well. So let's use set transport config and set max receive size to, let's say, 100 MB for this testing, and set max send size to 100 MB as well. So this will change it to 100 MB on the organizational level. And if I do the transport rule, we have this 10 MB rule which is disabled right now, and we have 50 MB which is enabled. So we have created a rule for internal emails here. So this is irrespective of anybody on the internal network. However, if you want to customize this as well for CEOs and managers, so you can also include the sender is, and you can play with this rule. As you already know, this rule is applied on all the emails which are transacted internally, irrespective of the role of the users, be it standard users, VIPs, or managers. Whoever tries to send an email with larger than 50 MB of file or attachment, it will be blocked. So if you want to customize this and increase further, you can create one more rule or modify the same rule to increase the file size for particular users. However, I will highly discourage that because the email protocols are not designed to transfer the attachments. It will be very slow. Instead of that, you can use the SharePoint, OneDrive, or any other file sharing systems, as I said earlier. So let's cancel this and go back to the comment here. So we have covered this internal emails, and we want to see the external emails for normal users, where he can be able to send 50 MB of attachment, but when he is receiving email from external, it should be limited to 20 MB. So let's go back to our ECP and create a new rule. Let's call this email attachment limit for external incoming emails. So this will be applied only to external incoming emails. Let's go to more options and the condition. Let's select the sender is external or internal. I will select outside the organization for this. So it will be applied for all the external emails, and add condition. Let's select attachment and size is greater than or equals to, and we want to limit this to 20 MB. So let's go back to our website here and convert it to KB, which is this. Let's copy this value and come back here and paste it. So this will be applied for all the incoming emails which are from external users and which has attachments which are greater than 20 MB. In the actions, let's block this with the explanation. The same thing, we will use 20 MB here. It will send this non-delivery report or error. So let's select this and OK. So we have covered incoming emails or incoming external emails attachment limits. So let's create one more rule. So let's go to more option and select sender. In this case, we will select sender is inside the organization. And let's add one more condition, and recipient is, we will select outside the organization. If you have multiple accepted domains, you may use any of this for the partner or non-partner organization. However, I will select outside the organization to limit this for all the external emails. So let's select this. Let's add one more and select attachment size here. And this will be 50 MB again. This should be 50 MB, right? So this is applied for all the emails which are sent from internal sender and sent to external recipient, and with the email attachment size greater than or equal to 50 MB. In the do the following, we will do the same thing. We will block this email with the explanation saying that this is exceeding the limit of 50 MB. So now we have the limits for internal users, where internal users can transact up to 50 MB of attachments using email protocols or using email services. While receiving the emails, they can receive the email up to 20 MB attachments. While sending an email, they can send email with attachment of 50 MB. So this covers the scenario for normal users or standard users. However, we also need to cover the exceptions for these rules, right? So let's go to edit. So let's add the exception here. Select the recipient here and select this property where the recipient has properties matching these text patterns. Click on plus, select the title. I will add managers to exclude managers from this rule. And I will also add CEO. I will also add CISO from this rule. So this particular rule will be applied for all the recipients who are receiving email from the external user, except if their title matches the manager, CEO, or CISO. So you can use this and save. Let's use the same methodology here and add the exceptions for outgoing email when the sender is or has the specific properties matching these text patterns, which will be again the title, manager, and I will also add CEO, CISO for this and click OK. So if any of these users try to send email with an attachment, this rule will not be applied for them. Let's click save. So if you just leave it like this, these two rules will be applied only for the standard users. The CISO, CEOs and managers will have no limits. They will only have the limits on the connector level. So let's fix this and create a limitations for them as well. Let's call this VIP email attachment limits for outgoing emails and apply this rule. If the sender is external or internal, I will say internal. And I will also select sender has the properties matching text patterns, which will be title manager, again title CISO, and CEO, and also the attachment size is greater than, I will give like 100 MB for this user and add it here. So whenever the VIP users try to send email with the attachment, they will have this rule. So they can send email attachment up to 100 MB to the outside users. As I said, 100 MB is very large. Do not encourage anyone, including the CEO, CISO, anybody. The email should only be used to transact the text information or the attachments with smaller size. So 100 MB is very exceptional. So let's keep this for this scenario and then block this message with the explanation exceeds the 100 MB limit. So reduce this size. So the VIPs will have this rule when they try to send an email externally. Create a new rule. Let's say this is incoming emails. And let's say the sender is external. And the recipient has the properties of title, CEO, CISO, or manager. And then click OK. And block this message with the exception. Let's say we will give the limit again 50 MB for this because we want to reduce the incoming email size. As we are only allowing 20 MB for the standard users, let's allow 50 MB for these users. And also add one more condition here and add attachment size. So this should block the emails with this particular text or the reason for all the outside emails which are sent to these users with more than 50 MB of space. So let's click on save. So this is how you can control the email attachment size using the organization level of limits. So once we have made all these changes, we will have to go to our command prompt, run it as administrator, and do IIS reset. Let's also go to services.msc and restart some of the Exchange services which are related to this. Let's restart the information store to refresh the store information. And also restart the services which are related to transport, which is front-end transport and the transport delivery, transport submission, and the Exchange transport service. You also need to do some changes for client specific limitations. So let's say we are using OVA to send email. We need to be setting the limitations or changing the limitations on OVA as well. I will share this link on the description of this video. So if you go to this link, you need to go to this path, which will be Exchange install path, front end, HTTP proxy, OVA, and you need to find this file. And within that file, you need to find this particular key, and this will be set to 35 MB. Change it to something bigger like 75 MB when you are trying to send an email with attachment of 50 MB or something like that. I'm trying to send email of around 50 MB, so I will change it to 75 MB. So this will be in the bytes, and you also need to make sure you are checking the kilobytes in some of the settings here. These two keys, the max allowed content length and max request length, are available on this file in this particular location. However, if you see the backend files which are available on the client access, OVA and web config file, and you also need to change this particular key in two instances. I will share this link over the description. Please go check it out. And if you're trying to use any other client like EWS to send the email, then you may need to change the respective values or keys on the web config for that particular client area. So if you're using any mobile device or tab or something, you may need to change active sync values within this web config file. In my environment, I have made changes on C drive program files, Microsoft Exchange server, and within V15, you see the client access. This will be the backend files. This will be the values for front end keys. So let's go to client access. As we are using OVA, let's go to OVA and you can find web config here. So this is the file you need to find. And once we have this file open, let's go to this link and go to OVA and copy this, find this here. As you can see, I have changed it to 75 MB, which is in bytes. And the other one, the max request length, this is also changed to 75 MB in kilobytes. So this way you need to make the changes and save it. So once you've done that, you need to go to command prompt and run it as administrator. Here you need to type IIS reset to restart the IIS service and hit enter. So once you do the IIS reset, it might take a minute or so to start the services. So once you have that, you can go to OVA. In my case, I'm testing on OVA. So let's go to OVA. So let's add the attachment, which is in the zip files, and select all users. For the subject, let's say testing email attachments. I will also say testing on the body and hit on send. As you can see, the email has been sent from our inbox, and this contains 47 MB of file or 2 attachments with 48 MB of size. So let's wait for it to deliver on the mailbox. As you can see, the email has been received and it contains 48 MB of file size. So the internal email with 50 MB of attachment is working fine as we defined on this rule. However, this test environment which I am running is not yet published. You can see the email addresses are ps.local. So this is local only. As of now, I am unable to test external emails, but that should be fine unless you have set this correctly. So let's go back to the command here. As you see, the internal emails scenario we have already covered out, and exception with COs have been covered with the exceptions on the email attachments. And we also created a new rule for the VIP users. And for sending and receiving of the standard users limits, we already covered it with 2 more attachment rules on the transport rules. So I guess I have covered all the scenarios which you have requested here on the comment. So with this, I'm concluding this video. I hope this was informative and see you on the next one.